My name is Mike Sanford. I'm the offensive coordinator at University of Utah. I know a lot of you guys, and I think a lot of you guys know where I've been before. I'm not going to go into a long ordeal about that. Just a little briefly, very briefly. I've been at Utah 1 year. I came there I was at Sanford as the offensive coordinator before that. Before that, I was at San Diego Chargers, coaching the receivers for 3 years under Mike Riley. Then before that, I was at Notre Dame. That's where Urban Meyer, the head coach at Utah, and I hooked up. He was the receiver coach, and I was a quarterback coach there. And then before that, I was at USC for 8 years under both John Robinson and Larry Smith. I coached receivers there, so I've coached quarterbacks, receivers, and then I'm coaching running backs at Utah, which I really, really like. Coaching that position as a coordinator, because it helps me to have a perspective on the whole thing. I'm going to talk to you about a football play that's like, you know, and some of you guys were at my earlier talk at 6 o'clock, but this is our base football play. Okay, this is our starting point. This is a play we're going to make it go. You know, we believe in this play. It's what we do. Okay, and if I'm not talking loud enough, I know we're in kind of a big place. Tell me. Okay, so I'll try to speak up as much as I can. What we call this play, we call it 14-15 read. Okay, and it is in looking at the what the title of this presentation is, and I want to make sure this is very clear, because some people have a very clear understanding of what this play is, and some have kind of a nebulous understanding of this play. When you talk about a decide or a read zone play, okay, let me just kind of give you the philosophy of it before I even get into talking about the play. Okay, first of all, when you start talking about a zone play, okay, first of all, our philosophy, we are a spread offensive team, okay? We are a shotgun spread offensive football team, okay? So we're gonna be shotgun snap probably 96 to 97% of the time, okay? And I'll get into some of the details of that a little bit later, okay? The other part of us philosophically is we didn't like, and when Urban Meyer and I were together at Notre Dame, we didn't like the fact that the defense can always have one more guy than you can block. Okay, that's the problem we all have on offense. Okay, they can and basically no matter what offense you run, defense can bring one extra guy that you can't block into the picture. Okay, the theory and the philosophy behind the spread offense is force them to declare. Get those guys out there, force them to declare, and you'll know who that extra guy is, or who those extra people are, exactly what they're doing. Okay? Okay, now. Hey, how you doing, Bill? Okay, good to see you, man. Okay, and basically, if you're in a situation, if a team goes with what we call a too-high scheme, okay? A too-high scheme, whether it's quarters or cover two, okay? Quarters or cover two. If they're going to cover down properly on your formation, okay? If they're going to cover down properly on your formation, okay, they've got 6 guys basically committed to covering down on you, okay? Then basically they can be in one of two things, either a 3-2 box or a 4-1 box. And I'm going to be real simple here in my alignments just for the purpose of understanding, okay? Okay, we feel like when we're in, we have a shotgun quarterback, we have a tailback. When we are in this alignment in a spread offense, and this is this relative position, this guy should be further away from the box. We feel like our numbers, in our thinking, and you'll understand in a second, we feel like we're +1. We have an advantage, okay? We have an advantage on offense because we have 5 blockers for 5 defenders in the box, okay? 5 blockers for 5 defenders in the box. This is going to be a little bit of a math equation here, but you'll understand where I'm going here in a minute. Okay, now, if people are going to give us some form of one high, okay? They're going to give us some form of one high, okay? Whoever these guys are, okay? Now they've got six guys in the box, okay? In our thinking, we are considering that even because what we're basically doing, okay, we're going to block, if we're running the zone play to the right side, we're going to block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with our 5 guys, and we're going to read that guy with our quarterback. So when we face a one-high defense, we feel like our numbers are even or equal. Okay? Now, the next step in the whole thing. If we get a no deep situation, what we call no deep, and this is a big part of our whole philosophy on offense. When we get a no deep situation, whether it's an odd front or an even front of any kind, let's say it's an even front, so let's say they're like this. Okay, they've got, what am I doing? That should be an N. That's a Will Backer. Okay, they have an advantage on us. They've got 7 people in the box. We consider ourselves -1 in that situation. Okay, just in summary, when we get a 2 high or a 1 high situation, we feel like we should run the ball. We should average 4 yards a carry running the football plus. Okay. When we get a 2 high situation, the quarterback doesn't even have to worry about reading anybody because we're +1 in our numbers. When it's a 1 high situation, now we're reading a guy, so we feel like we're even. When it's a no deep situation, we've got to do something else, okay? We've either got to throw the football and beat them passing the football, or we're going to make some kind of adjustment and run a speed option type of play where we can create a situation where we can even up our numbers. Everybody clear on that, what the philosophy is behind this? Okay, any questions about that? Okay, so going into this whole talk about this play is we take into account all those things about the numbers, okay, and how those all work out. Now, obviously, there's issues in there about people disguising, giving different looks, going from a 2 high look and bringing a scrape situation, and that all comes into play in our thinking, and we make adjustments based on that. Okay, now, here's the deal. Okay. I want to talk to you about, now let me just say this too. What we're going to do today in this time we have here, we're going to go through, we're going to talk about the play. We're going to do 3 different types of teaching here. Okay, we're going to talk about the play on the overhead. Okay, I'm going to show you the play on video, and then we're going to go out on the field, and you're going to see, I'm going to have some of you guys be demonstrators, and we're going to actually go through how we teach the mechanics of the the ride and decide for the quarterback, okay? And the footwork of the back and the whole thing. So I'm going to go into some of the detail about that now, but I'm going to go into more detail out on the field when we go outside. Okay, like I said, we call it 14-15 read. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Okay, 14-15 read. It is a zone play going in the direction of our call. Obviously, as 14 is going to the right, 15 is going to the left. So what you see drawn here is 14 read. Okay? It's 14 read. Like I said, this is a base play in our offense. Okay. I've got it drawn up here against a 4-4 look on the left and an odd look on the right. And taking into account the person that is that has a square around him, that's the quarterback's read. That's who he is reading on the play. Okay? Now, I won't get into all, because this is all a lot of different personnel group. Basically what I'll say is our base personnel group is 4 wide receivers, 1 back, and a quarterback. We also employ a tight end, 3 wide receivers, and a back. Okay? We will also go 2 backs, 3 wide receivers. Okay? Just so you kind of understand where we're coming from. Our Tiger personnel, we would not run that out of this play. That is that's incorrect right there. We do not run it out of Tiger. Tiger is with basically 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and a back. Okay. Okay, now. I'm going to go through the rules by each position. And as we go through this, please ask questions if anything is unclear. Okay. Because the quarterback is going to read it, and very good chance he's going to keep the ball running out the backside, we have our backside receivers block for the quarterback to run the football. Okay? They don't block like the back's going to run the football. They block for the quarterback to run the football. So when you see a technique on here, when we say keep block on the backside, okay? This terminology, there's a lot of gibberish here, but FS is front side, single side, okay? Now we have, if the play's being run to the front side, in other words, he's the front side blocker. We're running it back to the X. He's a single side receiver. We're in a 3-by-1. He's got support. He blocks support. Whoever that guy is, corner or invert player, he's got that guy. The play's going to him. If you're the front side, 2 or 3 receiver side, you're blocking the man on. Okay, so that's the front side of the play where it's coming to you. If you're a backside, you're a keep block. So what I mean by a keep block, if the play's going away, okay, I'm gonna block. I'm gonna put my nose on the outside shoulder of the defender to my side, so that if the quarterback keeps the ball, I'm in position to block for the quarterback coming back out on the edge. Okay? Okay. The Z's rules are the same because in a variety of different formations, they could either be the front side 2, front side 3, front side 1, or they could be the backside guy. Okay, H is the same thing. Our H is our slot receiver away from our tight end or our E. Okay, our Y or our E. We can run this play to a tight end side. Okay, we can obviously run it away from a tight end side. We like to run it to a tight end side if there's going to be a situation where there's an extra man coming off the edge. We like running it to a tight end side in an odd defense. We like running it to a tight end side if it's a 4-4 type of scheme. Okay? Now, to us, a tight end side could be a stationary lined up tight end, or we could motion a guy to get to that position. Okay? To block that extra man on the edge. Everybody clear on that? Now, for us, our Y is obviously in the typical, historic term, that's a true tight end. Okay? If we have an E in the game, he determines the strength of our formation, but he's a receiver. Okay, he's a wide receiver, but he's a slot receiver. For us, this last year, our starter at that position was a guy that had played tight end at Utah prior to that, and his name was Ben Moe. I don't know if some of you guys saw, there was a deal on ESPN on him about his background and some of the things that he'd overcome to get to, to his senior year this year and have the kind of year he's had, because he's had, as all of us in this business know, it's an awesome thing when a kid has a really tough background, overcomes a lot of that and has some success. And that's the situation this guy was in. The real advantage that this guy gave us, and if you have a guy like this, it can really help you because it creates a lot of problems for the defense, is he was both, could line up as what we call an attached tight end and really play that position because of his size. He was 6'1", about 250, okay? Now that size varies based on, where you're at, okay? But for us, that fit. But he could run well enough, he could line up in the slot and play that position. So we didn't have to change our personnel groups, okay? We could leave him in the game, he could line up as an attached tight end, or he could line up as a slot, and people didn't understand, we had found out from some people that created a lot of problems for people. So if you have a guy that can do that, it really helps you. Okay. Okay, that man's rule. If he's a play side, he blocks the man over. If he's a backside, he's a keep block. Okay, same thing. He's a keep blocker. He's blocking on the outside shoulder for the quarterback to keep the ball. If he's an attached Y, okay? If the offensive tackle's covered, he blocks man on. Offensive tackle uncovered, Ted or Oscar. It's a combination block with the tackle. Okay? And I'll get into some more of the specifics of that as we go along. Okay, tailback. Now, what I've got here is how we put the play in last year. Okay? And I'm going to talk to you about that, and then I don't want this to be confusing because as we're always in this profession, we're always trying to make something better. Okay? Always trying to improve. So, we've made some adjustments on this. I'm going to talk to you about what's on the paper, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the adjustments that we've made. Okay, our tailback. Okay, we put our toes at 5.5 last year. Our quarterback's toes are at 5. Okay, so he is slightly behind the quarterback. Our alignment last year, he was foot to foot with the offensive tackle. Okay, so he was foot to foot with the offensive tackle. Okay? Our footwork last year, and I hope this isn't confusing for you. Lead step, flat lead steps. In other words, what we did, we took a flat lead step and we actually turned our shoulders. Okay? Aiming point is the butt of the play side tackle. You're responsible for the mesh. Read the first down lineman beyond the center. Slow to, fast through. If quarterback keeps, fake hands together, get tackled. Okay, now, a lot of words there. Okay, basically, what we taught last year is we were foot to foot with a tackle. Okay, he's taking a lead step. Okay, he's going to roll over the ball. His aiming point was the butt of the tackle. Okay, he's going to roll over the ball. And he's responsible for the mesh. Now, when you talk about this play, there's a lot of people have had problems, and we've talked to people have asked us questions. That whole thing of the decision between the quarterback and the back, and making sure you don't have turnovers. One of the huge things in our philosophy is we want to be one of our goals weekly. We evaluate ourselves on this. Is we want to have no turnovers. Now, obviously, that's what all of us want to have. But we're a fairly high risk offense as far as that is concerned. And so we spend a lot of time on this, and we want to be great at this. Okay, so the tailback is responsible for the mesh. In other words, he is responsible. He basically, what we tell him is you roll over the ball and you take the ball. We don't tell him to reach for the ball. You roll over the ball and you take the ball. Okay? The quarterback's job is to read the end. Number one, okay, well, before I even say that, the number one thing he's got to do is catch the snap. I know that sounds very elementary. But what happens in shotgun offense is sometimes they move ahead too much. It's just like a receiver that doesn't look a ball all the way into his hands and into the tuck. Okay, a quarterback in shotgun offense, number one thing of all, he's got to catch the snap. Okay? They don't want to move into the next phase. Okay? Number one, they catch the snap. Number two, their eyes are going to go immediately to their read key. Okay? So they're going to catch the snap, and as they're executing their proper footwork, they're going to go right to their read key. Now, we tell the quarterback, your job is to read that read key, and your decision is to pull the ball. Your decision is not to give the ball. Okay? Your decision is to pull the ball. So if you're going to pull the ball, you're going to yank on that thing and pull it out of there. You're going to be decisive pulling it out. So basically, the running back is under the impression he's getting the ball, and he is executed just like he's getting the ball, and he's going to receive the ball. He's responsible for getting the ball. The quarterback's job is to pull it. Does that make sense? So in other words, we don't tell both of them, well, you may get it or you may give it or whatever, okay? The quarterback decides and pulls, okay? The back is responsible for the mesh, rolls over the ball, and you act every time like you're getting the ball, okay? The quarterback's going to pull it. Does that make sense? Everybody understand what I'm saying there? Okay. Okay, now, I'm going to go into the quarterback, and then I'm going to go back to the tailback because I don't want this to be confusing because we've made a couple adjustments. Okay. Open quarterback, open to the tailback, and extend the ball. Okay? So if I'm running 14 read like the drawing here, I'm going to catch the snap first. Okay? I'm going to open. In other words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back with my left foot. I'm going to open to the tailback, and I'm going to put that ball out. Number one, I'm going to catch the snap. My eyes are going to go to my read key, but I'm not going to worry about where the back is because he's responsible by his footwork, and every day we work on this, he's got to be there. We're going to put the football out, and if he's my read key, I'm going to have my eyes on him all the way. Okay? Now, at that point, the back's going to come in front of me. I'm going to ride him. I'm going to see, through peripheral vision, I'm going to see him coming through, but I'm watching my read key. Okay? Okay, we tell him now, read the C-gap defender. Okay? Read the C-gap defender. And the reason we tell him that is because when people start figuring out what you're doing with this play, they're going to do gap exchange stuff on the backside, okay? They're going to start bringing the linebacker underneath, bringing the end out, bringing the end down, bringing the linebacker outside. Whatever they can do to jack with you, they're going to do it, okay? Because I'm sure there's some defensive coaches here that are listening to this to try to figure out how to defend it. Okay. So anyway, he's got to read the C-gap defender. So that's why we're very specific with that. It's not the defensive end always. It's the C-gap defender who ends up being the C-gap defender. Does everybody understand? Everybody clear with that? Okay. Okay. Now, versus 7-man box, possible check to our speed option. Or we could check to a 3-step drop pass. Okay? So if we get like I talked about earlier, philosophy of the play, we get no deep. Okay? Remember we said 2 high, 1 high, no deep. 2 high, no problem. One high, you're going to read a guy. No deep, you got a problem. Okay? You got to do something about it. Okay, so we're going to check out of the play. We're either going to go to a speed option play, or we're going to go to a pass. Okay, and our quarterback, who's a kid from San Diego, Alex Smith. He's from Helix High School in San Diego. He has really gotten good at this, and he's a very good passer, and he's going to have more flexibility to check the passes this year than he has in the past. So we're going to be doing more of that. And he's a good runner, no question about it. But he's going to have the capability to get out of this and go to passes more than he has in the past. Okay. Now, like I was talking about earlier about the tailback, okay? One of the things when we watched our cut-ups in the off-season is when our back was set behind the tackle, number one, he turned his shoulders and his aiming point was the butt of the tackle. We ended up at times missing the backside cut on the zone. Everybody understand what I'm talking about here? Okay, if you don't, please raise your hand. Okay? In other words, we're reading the zone play. And let me go into the read a little bit more before I say that. Okay. Tailback's read. Okay, you're reading the first down lineman beyond the center. So the way I teach it is first man play side of the center is your read. If he goes out, now what you've got to see is color on the backside. So in other words, any good back, guys that we feel like we should recruit at Utah, should be able to read a front side key and then feel color on the backside. Okay? Really good backs, that's what they do. Okay? That's what they do. We don't, now that brings up a whole philosophical point here. We don't tell the back where to go. Okay? I don't believe in that. I was raised, within football, I was raised in a John Robinson system. I played at USC for John McKay and John Robinson. I was a graduate assistant at SC for John Robinson, and I coached for him for 4 years at SC. And I think he knows a little bit about running backs. And I learned a lot from him. And one of those things is, first of all, you don't, if you have a, you know, the kind of back that you need to have, you need to tell him he needs to have proper footwork. You need to do a great job with handling the football. You need to get him to the entry point on the line of scrimmage. But then you can't tell him where to go because great backs have got to have a feel for that. Okay? So we give him a front side read, but we have him read backside color. Does everybody understand? Does that make sense? Very clear with that. Okay. Now, let me back up to the adjustment that we've made. And we actually made it in the bowl game. And we're doing it more. What we basically ended up doing, because we felt like the back was too flat and not making the backside cut, we deepened him up. So we're deepening him up to 6 yards. Okay? The other adjustment we're making is instead of being lined up behind the tackle, we're putting their inside foot on the outside leg of the guard. Okay? The other adjustment we made, and the play was really good for us. Okay, I'm not going to say the play was bad, but we want to make it the best we can possibly make it. So the other part of that is, instead of turning our shoulders at the beginning of our footwork, we're actually going to keep our shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage. Okay, we're going to take a lead step. We're going to take a shuffle step. We're going to roll over the ball. And now our aiming point is going to be the butt of the guard. Okay? The butt of the guard. Okay? We've got to press that thing to the front side. That's critical. Okay? And once again, his read's the same. He's going to read the first man off the center to the play side, but he's going to feel what color is doing on the back side as far as his cutback is concerned. Yes?
Can you go over his alignment of the feet?
Okay. 6 yards, toes are at 6 now instead of 5.5, which is what's on there. Okay? Inside foot is on the outside foot of the guard. Aiming point now is the butt of the guard. Okay? Yes? Line splits are 2 feet. 2 feet. Okay? Okay. And we feel like because of that, because of deepening them up slightly, tightening them up a little bit, tightening the aiming point a little bit, we feel like we're going to be better at getting that backside cut than we were last year. In evaluating the play, we were not, I mean, it was a really good football play for us. But we were not, if I remember right, we evaluated it to a 3-technique side, okay? To a 3-technique side, we averaged 4.97 yards a carry. To a 1-technique side, we averaged 4.62 yards a carry on this play. Okay? So it's a very good football play for us, but we feel like it needs to be better.
Are you flip-flop in the back? They lost their D tackles.
Okay, the question was, are you flip-flopping the back if they are changing the shades of the tackles? Okay, very good question. Okay, in some games last year we checked the play. In some games we checked the play. Some games, depending on the defensive scheme, we checked it to the 3-technique. Some games we checked it to the 1-technique. It depended on the team. Okay? So to answer your question, yes and no. Okay? We did at times, in other games, what we did is we did a lot of what we call fly motion. Okay? And for us, fly motion means we line up, for example, we're going to line up on the left and we're going to run 15 read. The back is going to go in motion on his own over to the right and get him at the last second, and he's going to go in motion. We're going to snap the ball. Basically, we should time it up so he gets there with his feet in the proper alignment on the other side, and we're going back the other way. Okay? So we ran fly motion and both checked it with fly motion, to answer your question, okay? And also just fly motion and ran the play, regardless of whether we were running it to a 3-technique or a 1-technique. Yes? I'd say we're pretty normal. You know, I'd say we're pretty normal. We're not way off the ball. We're not crowding the ball. I'd say we're somewhere in between. Okay? Okay, so that is, does everybody understand? What I've got on there is 5.5 behind the tackle. We made an adjustment. We're deepening it up to 6, and our inside foot's on the outside foot of the guard. And we're going to do that in everything. Okay. Our rules for our offensive line on this play. Okay, play side tackle. Play side gap. If you're covered, man on. Possible tag block. Tag block is a combination block with the guard. If we got an attached tight end, this ties in with the tight end. Attached tight end, if you're covered, man on. Okay, uncovered, combination block with the tight end. Okay? Play side guard. Okay? If you're covered, scoop. Okay? Here's an example of a scoop block right here. It's a zone between the guard and the center on the front side tackle. Okay? Okay? Uncovered, tag. Okay? Uncovered tag. You're uncovered, you're working with the tackle. So for us, that's an example of a tag block for the tackle. With the tackle, guard the tackle. Okay? Possible scoop versus A-gap, linebacker or 2-technique. Okay? Center, play side gap, covered. Okay? The Badger call, possible scoop block versus an A-gap linebacker or a 2-eye technique. Okay? Versus odd, you're going to slip. Okay, here's an example of a slip block. That's a combination block with a backside guard. Zone combination with a backside guard going up to the backside backer. Okay? Okay, uncovered scoop. Okay, we talked about that. Okay, backside guard, play side gap, covered block man on, possible man call. Okay, uncovered, we got a tag block, so that means that tag block will be the tackle and the guard on the backside. We have a tag on the front side, we have a tag on the backside. Tackle and guard, just a little bit different technique, but tackle and guard working together. Okay? Okay, backside tackle, play side gap, block B gap defender, read will linebacker. Okay, man on, man outside, man call. Okay? Now, a man call for us, here's an example right here. A man call for us means he's all by himself, basically gonna block the end. Okay? But what he's gonna be taught to do is he's got to block. His job is he's got to block the B gap defender, whoever that may be. So he's going to read that end and that linebacker. He's going to step down. Okay, he's going to step down. Okay, and then he's going to read that B gap to see who's going to end up being the B gap defender, and he's going to block the B gap defender. Okay, that makes sense. Yes.
So if the end stay head up and slant, the B gap's going to take the end.
Yes, exactly right.
The quarterback can then read the...
Exactly. That's why we tell the quarterback reads the C gap defender. The tackle will end up blocking the B gap defender, whoever he may be. Does that make sense? Okay. Now he has to obviously there's clues before the snap that are going to tell him what's going to happen. Okay, between that end and linebacker. Okay. 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 Any questions about that? Yes. Say that louder, please. Okay. Okay. That's the question was stem fronts or slanting fronts. Basically, it's a zone scheme. So we have to be able to. There's clues before the snap that are going to help them with their calls, okay? Because calls could be affected by that. But we're still going to teach it zone blocking technique so that when they move, we're adjusting on the run based on what they do. Does that make sense? And we're going to give them a ton of looks now. I mean, this is our play. This is what we run. We're committed to this play. So we're going to give our line all the different looks. And when we run this play, an inside drill, we're going to give them a ton of different looks. We're going to give them all the different things that you're going to get. Okay? Okay, now, the question that somebody may ask, and I'm taking this probably one step further right now, mostly because most guys, defensive coaches, obviously are thinking ahead. Okay. One of the things that happens to us in this scheme is that people introduce an extra guy into the box to play the quarterback. Okay. So in other words, basically, if we had this situation in the 4-4 there, or if we're a 4-4 and we're in a 2-by-2 set, we're fine because we got a guy to block this rover right here, right? Okay? But if we are in a 3-by-1 set running this play, and they introduce an extra defender on the weak side, either a rover or a free safety or that kind of thing, and that guy is assigned to the quarterback, or they play quarters, start off in quarters and bring him down late, okay? Now they can turn that end loose to go to the back, force the quarterback to keep the ball, and then they got a guy to take the quarterback, right? Everybody with me on that? Okay. And that's why, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, and this isn't like a commercial or anything, but I don't have enough time to go into that. But tomorrow I'm going to talk about a play we call triple. And it's I'm going to talk about our option stuff that we have out of the shotgun. And for us, we call 14 triple. What we're basically doing is we're running the same play, but now we bring a guy in motion from the other side. He becomes our motion guy, and it's a triple option. We're doing the read play off the end man on the line of scrimmage, and then the quarterback is carrying it out to the next man who they're introducing into the defensive scheme to play the quarterback, and then we're going to option him with the quarterback and the pitch guy coming in motion. Does that make sense? So if we feel that there's a team that's doing that to us, that's one of the ways, not the only way, that's one of the ways that we're going to adjust to it. Okay? And I'll talk to you in more detail about that because I've got a whole deal on that tomorrow. Okay? Okay. Now, let me find my... Disappeared on me. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's some of the different looks on some different fronts. Okay, a Badger call for us is an example of that's a one-on-one block for the center. An Oscar block means now that we've got the tight end is going to block out. Okay, that's with an attached tight end or with a motion guy blocking out or blocking the fourth man to the side. Okay, this would be in a bear situation. We're full side, front side zone, and then we're ganging it. In other words, we're bringing the center, right guard, right tackle, everybody front side. And then against what we call a stack defense, there's an example of a TED block, which would be a combination on the defensive end by the tackle and the tight end. Okay? Okay. What I'd like to do now, because we're going to end up out on the field, guys, what I'd like to do now, if I can get this thing to work properly, on the read guy, okay? If I'm the read guy, okay, and you guys are the quarterback, the play's going that way, and I'm the C-gap defender, and let's simplify it right now and say it's a defensive end, okay? Okay, the two extremes are I come across the field, I come upfield, across the ball, upfield, and my shoulders are upfield, that's a give all the way, okay? I turn my shoulders and come down the line, that's a key, okay? Now, there's some things that are in between that, okay? Now, thing we do, and I mentioned this when my earlier talk, is we do ball handling like in spring practice. Every day we'll do 10 minutes of ball handling. And when we say ball handling, we're practicing the read every time. And the way we practice that, let me show you here real quick before we watch the tape. Okay, we have a strip set up. Okay, so we get proper alignment, you know, as far as where we are. Okay, we have a guy snapping the ball. Okay, we have the back. Okay, we'll have a read key, whoever that guy may be. Usually we have a coach do that.
Coach, you're off the screen.
Sorry. Bad deal.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have a read key. Okay? And then what we end up doing is we have two trash cans. Okay? This is the front side read for the back, and then we have a backside read, either a nose or a backside player, and we either work him front side and it's here, he comes inside, the thing's going to bounce outside. Now if this goes there and he comes inside, this guy's either going to go there and it's going to be a cutback, or he's going to be there and it's going to stay up in the hole. So we teach him, you have a front side read. Every time we run the play, the back has a front side read and backside color coming. And the quarterback, we give him all the different reads of what would happen. We snap him a shotgun snap, and he gets all the reads of what could happen there. And we actually have the quarterback coach is usually the guy that does that shows him exactly what the reads are. Okay, and so that's how we practice it. I know that was a long answer to your question, but that's how we practice. We do that 10 minutes a day. And during the season, we do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 10 minutes every day, all the way through the season. Okay? We don't do it on Thursday. Okay. Let's see if we can operate this machine. Okay. Good question. Okay, every time we do that drill on the strip, the back has to run 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and the quarterback has to run 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage every time. And if the quarterback keeps it, that's very important. If the quarterback keeps it, the back has to. We tell them to roll over the ball, and you read it just like, and we still have those trash cans doing their deal, and you read it just like you've got the football, and you roll over the ball and cover up and keep your hands in and act like you've got the football. And for that whole 10 yards. Okay, so they've got to carry out that fake for 10 yards and go full speed. The quarterback's got to carry out his fake for 10 yards. Does that make sense? That's very important. Good question. Okay, let's see if I can get this thing. Okay, now this first one here. Okay, this is motioning from empty. Okay, we're motioning from an empty set. Okay, can you guys see this okay? I know it's motioning from an empty set. He's coming over, and we're going to run the read play over here to the split inside. So we can either go in fly motion like we talked about, or we can motion from empty. This time he does an excellent job of getting the backside cutback.
Eagle defense, Tampa Bay, what do you guys want to call it? Okay, what do you guys call it?
It's a slow play. Yeah.
What do you call it?
Dang it. Sorry. Okay. Okay. For us on this, our read guy is going to be this guy. Okay, let's take a look at what he does. Shoulders are upfield. Shoulders are upfield. It's a give all the way. Shoulders come flat down the line. It's a keep. Now, the one thing that ends up happening on this play is that one thing that happens on this play is that the quarterback, after a while, gets a feel for doing it, and he kind of knows, basically, if the back can get tackled, he keeps it. If the back can't get tackled, he gives it. I know that's probably an oversimplification, but that's what it ends up being. Okay, there's an example of fly motion. Defensive guy came upfield here. Upfield, that's a give.
Okay, so what we do is, if it's a call inside, double team call inside, I now know that I don't have any.
Okay, this is without motion. He's just lining up. We're running the play to the weak side. He does a nice job getting the backside cut here. Okay, we'll look at the defensive end. Comes across the line of scrimmage. Now this is something, looking at ourselves in our cut-ups. One of the things that's really important is this guy. I apologize for the static, but if I let it go, we'll get lost here. what this guy's job, he's got to press the line of scrimmage. When we talk about pressing the line of scrimmage, he's got to run right up on the heels of the offensive lineman to force the linebackers to do something. His job, we're going to block the down guys with the offensive line, and the back has to, by his action, he's got to get the linebackers to do something. Okay? Now, when he cuts back, in this case, in my opinion, he cuts back too far. What we want to do is, when we cut back, we want to cut back right on the heels of the lineman and get vertical up the field. If we cut right on the heels of the lineman, a backside, see if he cuts that thing tighter behind that left guard, that defensive end will not even get a piece of him at all. Okay, this is without motion. This is going to the weak side.
No. You're talking about this guard?
You get that bounce.
He's looking at the mid-body.
What's that?
Does he bounce it? Left, or is it going to be on the side?
It depends, you know, and that's why it's a run to daylight play, and that's why, number one, we teach footwork, we teach aiming point, we teach entry point, we teach pressing the line of scrimmage, but that thing could go there, it could go there, it could go there, it could go there, it could cut all the way back behind everybody. It's a true run to daylight football play. So if, like in this scenario right here, and we're zone blocking it, this is an odd stack defense, which we see a lot in our league. Odd stack defense, there's guys plugging gaps. He's got to have a feel for that, and on this one, that's why he stays front side. Yes?
You know, along that, you know, tell him that velocity of the goal line.
Great question. Question he asked was, are you looking for more horizontal or vertical push? And the answer is yes. Okay, because we had a long, I don't want to sound oversimplified there, but we had a huge discussion about this. And obviously the number one thing is we'd like to get movement going north and south. That's the number one thing. But there's going to be times where you're going to be in a physical situation either by ability or position where you're not going to be able to get vertical movement up the field, especially if your nose is singled up in an odd defense. So in that scenario, we would consider it success if he gets movement along the line of scrimmage, as opposed to what we never want to have is to get pushed back. But like I said, the answer is yes. Now, if we have a double team, we're in a double team situation and we're trying to get double teams. We're in a double team situation. We want to get movement up the field, ideally at a 45-degree angle going in the direction of the play. Okay? And our goal is to get 2-yard movement. Okay? Now that's what we're talking to our, because we're raising our level of expectation on offensive line this year than what we were last year. Because we feel like we can be a lot better this year than we were last year.
It's piece, but that linebacker moves, and that back comes underneath. So you adjust the 5-technique.
But like I said, this is an odd stack defense right here, and that's why this thing hits front side. Great job by the center blocking front side there.
How would you critique your right tackle?
Not real good.
Not really working to reach that. You'd want him to work to reach that.
Yes, yes. No, that's not very good. Because the ideal scenario we want to be able to get is to give, for everybody in the offensive line, to give the back a two-way go. We don't want them by the angle of their ass, we don't want them to have to tell the back where to go. Okay, this was later in the season when our back got hurt. We're playing that guy, that Ben Moa guy that was our E. We're playing him at tailback right here. He does a great job. There's an example of the center getting movement on the line but not getting movement off the ball, but he still does a good job here.
What's the back's key to go on the snap or the quarterback has to
Okay, good question. Can everybody hear the question? As to when the back is going. Okay. We have a verbal cadence and we have a silent cadence. Okay? Verbal cadence, he's going on when the ball is snapped, basically. Okay? On a silent cadence, really he's going on both. He has to, on a verbal cadence, he hears the snap count, he goes on the snap count, so he's going when the ball's being snapped, but it's on a verbal cue. Okay? Then we also have a silent cadence, and he's going basically on the snap, on when the ball's snapped. Okay, so he has to watch that and see that. Does that answer your question? Because we have to have silent cadence. Like for example, last year, I don't know if you saw, we played Texas A&M at Texas A&M, and you have to be able to have, a silent cadence in certain games that you go into because of the noise situation for us. We went that whole game with silent cadence.
So now think about it. Now I'm looking at combination. Sorry, center, you're on your own, and we go by yourself. I gotta go. Makes sense? Okay. Now, write this down. This one's very important.
This is kind of an example of what the question was earlier about, in this game, they were just moving their down guys to where our back was, but we weren't checking in this game.
Coach, I just ask a question real quick.
Yes.
You pretty much always have your tackles at 2 points.
Yes, we have our center, obviously our center. Our guards are in a 3-point, and our tackles are in a 2-point. Run or pass, no matter what, always.
Another quick question.
Yes.
You ever same side handoff to the back or front half?
Good question. Okay, the question was, do you ever do same side ball handling? And the answer is yes. And one of the things that we felt between our last game and our bowl game, we analyzed ourselves, and then we've done it in the off season. We want to have the capability, instead of always going in fly motion to run the play, we want to be able to ball handle it and run the play same side. It was really good for us in the bowl game against Southern Miss. And so, yes, the answer is yes. And we're going to line up the same. Our same side ball handling, we're gonna take a lead step, and we have to take a little bigger lead step because we have to get closer to the quarterback. Bigger lead step, shuffle step. We're gonna roll over the ball, but now our shoulders have to be at the front side guard. Okay? Does that make sense? So yes, the answer is yes, we do same side ball handling.
If that closes my back or it closes my shade nose, that's what will take back behind the shade.
This is motioning to a bunch set for us right here. We had some other things that we did out of a bunch set.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Game plan. Okay, now here we go. Tight end.
I noticed your tackle, once that deep tackle kind of slides in front, and he's going to look for B-gap defender.
Yeah, this guy shouldn't have been turning back like this.
Okay.
He should be going upfield.
All right.
Yeah.
Looking for like that hold back.
Yeah, he's wrong there. He should be going upfield, going to block the will linebacker. Or if he wants to go block the will linebacker, if not, go up to the safety.
Coach, what are you reading on that play?
This one right here.
It's to the tight end.
Okay, now we're running it to the tight end. Now you talking about the back or the quarterback? Okay, quarterback is always reading the C-gap defender. So, in this is odd stack defense, this is our team, what we call our team down south. Okay? Odd stack defense, we're going to still read the C-gap defender, so it could be either of those guys. Yes. Now what's happened here is they've brought Will up on the line of scrimmage and he's blitzing. So there's a good chance that end is going in the B gap.
Have you found teams to try to cover this, approach you off the edge, try to defend it?
No, because with our spread set, they have other issues to deal with.
Yeah, obviously they're going to have safety now.
Yeah.
Coach, on that last one, it looks like is QB supposed to take a couple steps up towards the line? I get if that outside back or that roll to actually come down flat. Does he want more depth, or I guess it's hard?
No, this is exactly what we want right here. Exactly what we want. He's reading the C-gap defender right there. This team, Wyoming, did a lot of stunning, and you were asking earlier about, about slants and stems and stunts and all that kind of stuff. And I thought our offensive line really did a good job in this game, picking up different movement. This one isn't, but there were a bunch of them.
Coach, what does the 5 technique have to do in order for you to pull the foot? This looks to be kind of 50-50.
Yeah, if he can't tackle the bag, we want to give it. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
And the quarterback, after he does it and gets a feel for it, he'll know that. Okay, this is another example of running it from empty and motioning the back inside. And you were asking earlier about the thing hitting front side. Here's another example of it, hitting front side. One thing that we felt, we got quite a few of those out the front side. We just didn't feel like we were as good as we could have been cutting the ball back. That's why we adjusted our shoulders. Yes. From the end zone?
Coach, do you know about what percentage of quarterback actually pulled the ball on this play?
What's that?
Do you have a number of percentage of times that you ran this play that he actually?
I would say somewhere between 1 and 2 out of 10. Now we have a bunch of other plays that are designed quarterback runs that are different. This would be an example of bringing a guy in motion to account for a fourth defender off the edge to the front side. So it's very similar to having a tight end.
Coach, you're running a kick series or kick play at all with that motion coming across the same motion?
Like a power play, you mean?
Yeah.
We do, but yeah, we do. We do a bunch of stuff. We have the capability to do both. We either call it against certain teams where we call the motion because their scheme always has a fourth defender to that side that we can't block, or, your point's well taken, we have what we call a U motion, where we send him in motion, and he's either going to block the guy or he's going to go back to where he originally aligned. So he's going to block him if necessary. Okay, here's another example of it out of the shotgun, out of empty. All right. Used to the buttons.
Yes, you can. Okay? He's now outside. Now we need to piggyback and do what we call that Tim.
This guy was a really good runner, but he's about a 4.7 guy. He had a hard time breaking the big runs. Really a hard runner, good runner, but not very fast.
He now has control because he's the cover down line. He's covered on his line. He's covered.
Okay, here's an example of what you were asking about. This is the same side. Read with a motion guy coming back out. So that was Reed coming left. Okay? No, still reading it. Read this guy. It's same side read. We're zone blocking that way, and we're reading that guy. Yes. Yeah, he is. Every time now. Every time, like on this one, he's getting now, when it's same side, the ball handling changes a little bit. Okay, what he has to do is catch the snap, and because he's putting the ball out over here, and he's going to have a tension by his body, so he's really got to get his chin on his right shoulder, stick that ball out, but he's still reading this guy. Okay. And we've got. I was going to go out on the field, but it doesn't look like we're going to get out there. Okay.
Oscar tells your tight end or E to walk out.
Yes, exactly right. This is okay. They were a odd scheme defense. Okay, odd scheme defense. You know, with a lot of different stuff going on in here. But they ended up with a man on your tackle and a man coming from the outside a lot. So on this play, you got to account for that guy coming off the edge. So that was the Oscar term, alerts the tackle, even though he doesn't have a tight end there. He is zone blocking with that. In the true Oscar, the tight end or the motion back's going to have the fourth man. But then what ends up happening is you get the end going out, and a linebacker coming underneath, or a safety coming inside. So we just zone that thing off between those two guys. And it's actually better with a motion guy than it is with a tight end, because you can zone it a little better because you can see the thing developing.
Sometimes that guy comes underneath the safety fits right in the C gap. Okay, you're playing man free. Safety's covering tight ends. Tight end blocking fits. On flow to it. So flow comes in that direction. Now what you do is
there should be some keeps on it.
And you let him come off on that safety as we go ahead and go and handle a 5 technique with the tackle.
Okay, this is with the tight end. This is running to a tight end side.
Okay? Yes.
And this thing, they got a stun on. This is a good example of what I was talking about they got like a ET stunt going on there. The tight end and the tackle. The tackle and the guard do a great job of trading that thing off.
So the quarterback has to see that and realize that the deep tackle can see that play.
Yep. He beat that guy now, that ET stunt over there on that side. It's a double ET stunt. The tackle ends up becoming the C-gap defender, so he has to see that. And actually, the right tackle could have done a better job there, staying on that end.
Something like that where you see him slant that hard in, of course you're gonna expect someone to come up to contain. You give them a, is that something that they just need to completely read, or is that pretty easy to say you're gonna give that?
Okay, say that again.
Well, like with the, and the ET stuff that
Yes.
you're saying, when that guy goes that hard across someone's face, it's pretty obvious that someone's gonna be contained. Is that somewhere it's almost an automatic just give?
No, he still has to read. He still has to read. Still has to read. Yes. Yeah. And we showed him that a ton in practice. You know, we showed him that in our ball handling stuff. We showed him that in inside drill. And we showed him that in team. So, you know, he had, you know, that big thing, you know, I mean, as in anything in football is you got to show them all the different looks so they're able, they've seen it before, and when they get in the game, I've seen that before. I know what's happening. I was going to go out on the field. Man in the front row said it's too cold, so we're not going to do that. And plus, I went a little longer. Yes.
Coach, linemen are covered. What are their initial aiming points?
When they're covered, initial aiming points, what they're basically going to do is they're going to take a 6-inch step to the play side, okay? And initially, they're going to be outside number.
No matter what shade you see.
Yes. And if it's an inside shade, they're going to take, rather than a 6-inch step, they're going to just pick it up and put it down. One of the things we want to do and we didn't always do it, and we're going to improve that. We want our linemen's shoulders staying square up the field, and the only turning they should be doing is at a 45-degree angle at the most to the play side. When we've got, like, if we've got a double team going to the play side, they could be turned at a 45 to the play side, but we never want to tell the back where to go by the lineman turning their shoulders on a block. We want to stay square and always give the back a two-way go. Now, obviously, it's going to turn out that way, but we want to try to keep them square up the field, going upfield as much as we can. Create movement up the field. Does that answer your question? Other questions?
Mike, you run zone away from the tight end, and if so, how do you have the quarterback read?
Good question. He asked, do we run the zone away from the tight end, and how do we have the quarterback read it? And it gets complicated. It gets a little bit confusing. And we very rarely will do that because it's really hard to read to a three-man covered side. It's really hard, or a three-man attached side. It's really hard for the quarterback to read that. We would very rarely run that to a split side away from a tight end. So I would say very, very rare. Only maybe a special situation, but we never did it last year. So, other questions? Yes?
Yeah, I think you're going to cover this tomorrow, but you've got your read, what other running progression plays you have under. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned you got power. You said you got power out of it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what we have read, we have speed option. Okay. We have a quarterback wrap play. I've got two different sessions tomorrow. I got one where it's quarterback runs, one that's options off of it. So we have the triple, which is like read. It's a read play with a motion guy coming around where we're reading and optioning on the same play. Okay. Then we have a true speed option where we're either speed optioning to the alignment of the back or we're sending him in motion and he becomes the pitch guy to the side of the back. We're going to do a little bit more this year with motioning a receiver and still running speed option with back going away because we feel like we needed to have some a little bit more misdirection. We have, and on the when we run the quarterback, we run a quarterback wrap play where we're pulling the tackle and we're bringing the back to block so it looks like read. We're bringing the back to block the guy that we're normally reading. Does that make sense?
So he's filling.
Yes, he's basically filling for the pulling tackle, and it's a quarterback run play.
Quarterback counter.
Kind of, yeah. And like I said, we have a wrap play where we're handing off to the back. We didn't run that a whole lot last year, where it's pulling the tackle and we're reading the end man to the side that the tackle's pulling from, and leading, running the back up in there, and we're still reading it on the edge. We run what we call a truck play, which is down. It's an outside sweep play. We do it out of the gun. A lot of people do it under center. We do it out of the gun, and the back either lines up to the side of the call, or we hand off sweep it with them coming from the opposite side. And it's a down, pull the tackle around, and if the guard's uncovered, he pulls also. That's an outside play that we like. Let me think.
Coach, can you do that one with a read too? Have
You
a
do that
truck to
with
the
your-
backside and still be reading to see that defender on the back.
We don't do that. We actually combine read with truck though, as a read as a check play. Okay. Yes.
Oh, you're doing that one with your tight end. Your tackle.
Yeah, either a tight end or a receiver in a bunch set, or we bring him in motion inside to crack. It's like we're cracking on the end man line of scrimmage, cracking on the next man out, and pulling around on the outside. So.
You're going to go over some of these tomorrow.
Yes. Yep.